Everybody, we'll wait for some people to get on. I'm going to load my computer up in what was a tough loss for your Pittsburgh Steelers, guys. Hey, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. The Bills played an excellent game. Too many penalties, too many turnovers, just too many adverse things happening for your Pittsburgh Steelers for them to overcome this game today and grab a victory. But it is what it is. What up, Sean? Too many penalties and turnovers. No doubt, man. We'll see if we can get some people in here. People might be salty and not feel like talking Steelers, but hey, a year that we thought was over about a month ago, it ends up being okay. The Steelers get into the playoffs. The Steelers end up doing what they had to do. Just came up a little bit short. Sorry, guys. AQ, Doug, what's up? Too many stupid mistakes early. God-awful punting. No doubt. God-awful punting yet again. They really have to take care of that in the offseason. 31-17 loss by your Pittsburgh Steelers today. And a disappointing end to the season. The Steelers, we had some high hopes for them. The defense right there, too, at the end. All the struggles that this team had overcome throughout the football game. That interception by Mason Rudolph in the end zone, which was a backbreaker there, too. But nonetheless, they were still able to overcome it, get it into one score. This game was a one-score football game, and the defense couldn't come up with a stop. The tackling was absolutely horrible by the defense. The offense played in a pedestrian way, like they were trying not to lose. And I didn't think they were aggressive enough. I felt like they had to be aggressive. The Bills were aggressive, and Josh Allen ran all over this team, and that was a surprise to me also. I thought the defense up front for the Pittsburgh Steelers would have a little bit better of a showing, and they really didn't. The ground game kind of beat them up. The pass game beat them up. Josh Allen beat them up in a lot of different ways. Doug, I think the first three punts were under 40 yards. They were net under 40 yards, yeah, for sure, Doug. Presley Harvin is bad continually. Mike Tomlin, got to get rid of him. Does Mike Tomlin stay, guys? That's another thing. I don't know if coaching was really the big thing today. I think some of it was because they weren't aggressive enough. But, man, the players did not tackle at all, and they were just not able to convert the big play like they had been. So, hey, it is what it is. What's up, guys? Sean says, yep, 21-yard punts. Harvin is straight trash, no doubt. Kevin Lynch, I still think it's time to move on from Tomlin. I'm going to say I think I agree. I think it's become stale. I'm not saying he's a bad coach by any stretch of the imagination, but, man, when you don't have playoff wins in so many years, you're 0 for, 4 or 5 in your last 4 or 5 tries in the playoff, and you haven't been able to come up with a victory. Maybe it is time to go. And I'm not saying, like I said, I don't think Tomlin's horrible at all, but maybe it is time, guys. Maybe it's time that we really start having that conversation a lot as Steeler fans here, and maybe think about that. Let's see. Southeast Los Angeles. My man Oscar, what's up? I stopped watching the game. No need to make myself angry. Yeah, I was getting pretty upset there toward the end. I was screaming at the TV. But when they were within one score, guys, I thought that this was starting to be a ball game. I thought they really had a chance. I really, really did. Sal Domino, my goodness, we had a lot of errors. No doubt, bro. We absolutely did. Doug, clock management at the end of the first half. Absolutely, Doug. I thought that was kind of weird. No timeouts being called. I thought that was odd, man. They had their opportunities in this game, but the turnovers, the fumbling of the football early, getting them behind, you can't do those types of things. The penalties, the false starts. Darnell Washington, 2 false starts on one drive. That hurts, man. Those are backbreakers. Dan Moore given that personal foul penalty on an extra point. You can't have those mental errors. And that does go to coaching. You have to have your team fundamentally sound. And that is a big thing. You have to have that. And we say that all the time here for sure. My goodness, we had a lot of errors. Yeah, Doug, clock management. Oscar says, dudes went in there like this was the second game of the season. Exactly. I thought that's how we approached it. That this was like our fourth week of the season. And I don't think you can do that in the playoffs. You have to be aggressive. All these teams that have won have been aggressive. They take shots early, and they're fundamentally sound. They're not shooting themselves in the foot with penalties, man. You're not killing your own self. That's the problem. You can't hurt yourself. Guys, what did you think? Put it in the chat, guys. Light that chat up with this stuff. What about Nick Herbig's lack of a role in this game? The fastest, most aggressive pass rusher remaining, I felt like. Alex Highsmith had a good game, I thought, at times. But no Nick Herbig, really. And I thought he had to be special today in order for this Pittsburgh Steelers team to have a chance. And I did not like the way that he wasn't incorporated, especially into this first half. You didn't see Nick Herbig really at all, except for special teams. And I thought that that was a problem. JD, what's up, man? Tough loss, no doubt. B Smiles 84, question for you all. Do you think that the Rooney family is being too cheap on getting players of elite abilities? I feel like the organization is being too conservative. I don't know about cheap. We are in a salary cap, all that stuff, and I know there's ways around that. I'm not sure. That's something we really need to explore in the offseason. I know they are too cheap here with buying assistant coaches, purchasing those and getting those contracts up to bring in bigger and better names. Maybe that's something they need to explore. I'm not sure about the contracts. They have the highest paid defense, I think, in the league. They dumped a ton of money into that. Big contracts there. A young offensive group. And what do they do next year? Quarterback, all those questions. There's tons of questions that are going to have to be answered, guys. Tons. Doug says, throwing a pick inside the 5-yard line. Doug, that was my biggest take away from this game. You get that touchdown down there when you're that close. That game now becomes 24-24 in that area. It per se, maybe. But you get that's a big score. That claws you back into the game. You go in, 21-14 at half or something, instead of 21-7. It's just crazy. You can't do that. And I don't think Mason Rudolph played absolutely horrible. I really don't. But the lack of shots down the field against that secondary, I thought, was telling of what they were trying to do. And that was established a run, and they were just trying to force that issue. And sometimes you got to loosen things up a little bit, and I don't think they were able to do that today. Oscar, going into the game more conservative than a hillbilly wrapped up in a Confederate flag is just not going to cut it. I agree, dude. They were very conservative for sure, man. No doubt about it, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why Mike Tomlin came in with that kind of mindset when you have a football team that had been hot, that had been really starting to make strides on offense. I thought that being aggressive was your best bet. It is what it is. 5 straight playoff games with giving up 30+ points, all losses. That is a big key there, JD. I thank you for bringing that statistic up. That is kind of crazy. You are Mike Tomlin, a defensive-minded head coach, and you're giving up that many points in playoff, big-time situations, and those types of games. You're not making it there very often, and you squander your opportunity in the first round continually. And you're not even putting on good showings when you're there. And it's kind of crazy. The Buffalo fans were kind of right by kind of thinking that this game would go the way it did. I'm going to eat crow. I thought the Steelers would do a lot better in this game, and they did not. Yeah, Doug, Darnell Washington, bad penalties, no doubt, dude. 2 in 1 drive, you can't have it. The young guys on offense seem to have butterflies. This is from Kevin Lynch in the beginning, but played better down the stretch. But the defense didn't play inspired at all. I was looking for that big turnover, but guys, you got to tackle the football, man. You cannot let guys like Josh Allen out of the pocket to run 51 yards for a score, I think it was, something crazy like that, and then allowing him to get out of the pocket and get pivotal first downs when you're on 3rd and long situations. You cannot allow that to happen. And I felt like they deviated from what I thought they should do. I didn't see a lot of 3 safety sets out there. I didn't see that a lot today. I seen them rotating the safeties, but I didn't see a lot of 3 safety sets to control those tight ends and help with the receivers and let the linebackers play more downhill and spy on Josh Allen. I didn't see that a lot today. And I thought down the stretch, too, the loss of Joey Porter Jr. hurt, but I didn't think he had a stellar game today. At times, he was pretty good, but you could tell that it wasn't his best game of the season, we'll say that. Ernest says, conservative play calling and tackling. Yeah, agreed, dude. Biggest problems. Doug, first half play calling looked like the first 8 games. Absolutely. I think they reverted back to that. And that was a big mistake on this coaching staff. Big problem, man. You cannot revert to being non-aggressive all of a sudden and just saying, oh, we got to run it every damn play. The conditions didn't warrant that. I thought you can move the football through the air, and when you're not keeping the defense honest, you're not stretching them out, they're loading the box up, and you're not able to have the success that you want. And then when your defense is killing you by not tackling. They're getting you behind the 8 ball, and there's no way to catch back up when your defense can't get a pivotal stop at the most important part of the football game. They needed one stop, guys, one. And this game might have been a little bit different. The Steelers might have had that opportunity to go down and tie this game up late in the fourth quarter and have an excellent chance at winning. I mean, hey, I thought Mike Tomlin, though, too. Poor clock management at times in this game also. Oscar, yeah, I can definitely see how much our highest paid defense made a difference. Pat P, again, with his I don't want to break a nail mentality. Agree. He tackled poorly today, man. How about Minka whiffing on that one? I don't know if it was more of a whiff, but he was like dragging that guy down, and he ended up scoring a touchdown on that. Like, dude, you gotta tackle people to the ground. Make sure they're down. Don't just give up on the play because you tossed them and you thought you had him to the ground. I didn't like that play. Minka's an all-pro. I don't know. I'd have to really rewatch this game, which is going to be tough. But I will rewatch it, and we'll break it down a little bit further throughout the week on just what happened. Take the emotion out of it a little bit. Beer Malls, what's up, my man? Just that pick he threw. Mason played pretty good. Tomlin, you blew it. Mason is screaming, get me in the play. They standing there with the brain freeze. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they were jacking around there at the end. That's kind of crazy. And then you saw Najee and all those guys. They weren't trying to get out of bounds or trying to take it up the middle. I don't know. I just felt that was kind of odd too, being just bad situationally. Doug says, I guess we can look forward to no offseason move and another season of mediocrity. Got to get that winning season, though. Yeah, dude, that statistic, Doug, I agree. Guys, this statistic of just not having a losing season doesn't cut it when you're trying to chase Lombardies in a NFL. That's all that matters, dude. I'll trade you one losing season for a Lombardi trophy. I'll trade that any day, and I'm sure you guys will too. Like, that don't mean shit to me. Doesn't mean that you're stable. Doesn't mean that you can coach. Okay, yes, it does. It doesn't mean that the organization is stable, but it doesn't give me. I don't know, guys. That statistic irks the shit out of me sometimes. It's not a bad stat. I mean, it's a good stat, but it still irks me with how much value is put into it. Kevin Lynch, I'm not sure what Pittsburgh's plan is for next year, but Mason is without a doubt the best QB on the team. I agree. Right now, he is. And does Kenny Pickett come back and be the starter? I think Mike Tomlin said that with a resounding yes by not changing the depth chart. It seems simple and seems like not a big thing, not changing it in this late in the season on paper, on the computer that we're all looking at. But I think it is a resounding yes that he is going to try to. I think it'll be at least a competition next year. But that is if they're even bringing Mason Rudolph back. We will have to see how that unfolds also. All right, guys, this is Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the like button, share it, and let's talk Steelers here after a disappointing 31-17 loss in the AFC Wildcard game to the Buffalo Bills in a game that the Steelers had their chances and squandered them, guys. In my opinion, they had their chances, and they squandered them pretty quickly. Beer Malls, and for once, I like seeing George shell out and throw his helmet. I agree. I thought that was a good pissed off George. I thought that meant that he really gave a shit. And guys, he was held there. That was a warrant of a penalty. That was warranted for a flag there, in my opinion. I felt like the Steelers didn't get a ton of calls, but that is not why they lost this football game. They lost this football game because of poor tackling, the defense not rising up in moments, Mason Rudolph throwing that interception. Otherwise, I thought he played solid. The lack of push from the offensive line and the stupid penalties, fundamentally sound, always rings through these post-game shows when we have a loss, and it always reverts back to the fundamentals not being done, and that's not good. Maybe things do need change. Cheeky Monkey, with only one interception, Mason did play well the rest of the game with what he was given. He was on his heels the whole day, pretty much was under pressure all the time. I agree. That offensive line, guys, had a bad performance today. Broderick Jones whiffed badly on that one in a big moment there. That was a timely sack for the Buffalo Bills and really hurt the Steelers there as they were moving the football and totally got destroyed by the Buffalo Bills there. Mason did. He got sacked pretty damn hard. But that was a Broderick whiff. Dan Moore whiffed mightily many times. Mason Cole, if you notice, still throwing snaps into the ground. We saw that several times. There is work to be done on this offensive line, and where do you turn? Do you go to free agency? Do you try to beef up in the draft? There's several options, but we're going to have to see what happens here. Robert Road, Pat P didn't tackle well at all season. He lost a couple of steps. He did, guys. He is a Hall of Fame cornerback. But if he does come back and play safety, if that's his next plan because he's lost a step, he's going to have to learn to tackle and learn how to hit some people. You're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive if you're playing that headhunter safety type role. It's just a must. You got to tackle people. And I thought, in general, the whole defense didn't tackle very well. I'm still shocked about the Nick Herbig thing. I thought that we would see him a lot more. I'm anxious to see why Mike Tomlin really didn't involve him that much. I'm just kind of curious on why they even have him on the roster if you're not going to use him. Here we go. Next comment. Beer Malls. No, they starting Kenny. They vested money and aren't willing to pay Mason more. Mason should start next year. I think that is what Mike Tomlin's saying. Beer Malls for sure. I'm over Tomlin a little bit too, man. At least right now, we'll let this loss digest and break it down a little bit more. Like I said, I'll rewatch it. And we'll see really, when you take the emotion out of it and you rewatch it, you see so many more things that could be problematic for sure, no doubt. Oscar, are we slowly transforming into the Cowboys? Or are we already there? Dude, I'm so irritated, man. For sure, man. I think we're already there. We're in a situation to where we cannot overcome the first round of the playoffs. I mean, it's not to the standard. Mike Tomlin preaches that standard, and the standard is not being set. You've got to be able to get out of the first round of the playoffs. That's, it's just kind of crazy. And you got to quit sneaking into the playoffs. You can't find yourself in trouble every year. You can't have these situations repeat themselves over and over without any type of action being taken. It's just kind of crazy to think that this is just the standard. It's just nuts to me. Beer Malls, I'm done, no doubt, bro. It's sad sometimes. Cheeky Monkey couldn't run the ball all day. Made us completely one dimensional. Our defense was so bad. Agreed. That offensive line, guys, they were not getting a push at all. That defensive front for the Buffalo Bills did exactly what I said the Steelers needed to do. You had to get push. You had to get pressure. You had to force Allen to the edges, to the pass rushers. But they didn't. The Buffalo Bills did that same thing that the Steelers defense needed to do, and they just could not get it together. The offensive line took a beating today, no doubt about it. Tomlin planned for all run plays. Beer Malls. I think it was. I think the game plan was we're going to run the football, control the clock, not allow Josh Allen to hurt us with his arm, and take him out of the game. And whenever you figure it out, it ain't working, you have to adjust. You have to adjust mid-game. And I think Tomlin is super bad at that. I think that his staff is super bad at that. You have to be able to adjust in the NFL because there's always a chance, man. You can make things happen. You can score quickly. You got to be able to adjust. And when you see no adjustments, you see the same thing over and over and over. It becomes very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Kevin Lynch, I'd love to see us bring in Mike Vrabel. I like the Vrabes, man. I like the Vrabes. I mean, hey, it's an option depending on what Mike Tomlin does. Does he even want to keep coaching? Does Mike Tomlin want to move on? That's the question that he's going to have to answer, and hopefully he's respectful enough to this organization, this franchise that has given him the opportunity to be the head coach for many, many years, to a quick decision on that. If you're Mike Tomlin and you choose this is to be it, you have to let that organization know rather quickly, and hopefully he has already let the Rooneys know that, because you have to jump into these coaching races quick to gain these guys, get somebody good. Otherwise, what are you going to be getting? Your 13th, 14th, 15th choice guy? I mean, they could already have a job real quick. These other teams that need coaches are already out on the prowl, and they're going to offer big dollars to get the top names. And that's just the way it is. And I know the Steelers usually go out and they find a no-name guy, i.e. Bill Cowher. Mike Tomlin, and find a guy that isn't on the radar of a bunch of people, and they put him in and give him a chance. And it's worked so far. 3 coaches in what, 70 years, something like that, something crazy. So, hey, it is what it is. Kevin, we beat ourselves early with turnovers and piss poor tackling. I'm proud of how we fought back. Thanks, Jason, for your work this season. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you. Yeah, they did beat themselves. They really, really did, guys. They absolutely beat themselves with penalties, fundamentally unsound. It's just horrible. Let's get some of the statistics from this football game and see exactly where we stood with Mason Rudolph. 22 of 39, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception for Mason Rudolph against Josh Allen's 21 of 30, 203 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen was surgical in that first half. He capitalized on the mistakes, and that was exactly what they needed to do. And the Bills came out and they executed exactly their game plan. They didn't deviate. They didn't get into that shell for most of the game. They were still aggressive a lot of the times, challenging plays, doing things that they had to do to try to put the Steelers away. And finally, they were able to do it. Yes, it was late in the game, but they didn't deviate. They stayed aggressive. They stayed in their game plan, and they executed it to the T, man. Jaylen Warren only had 8 carries for 38 yards. He was the leading rusher, it looks like, on here. Pat Freiermuth, 5 catches, 76 yards. You did have a touchdown from Calvin Austin III, Deontay Johnson, and, man, George Pickens. He was playing ball. He was out there hustling. I will not dog George Pickens in this football game. I thought they were trying to lock him down. They doubled him up a lot. But he was in single coverage sometimes, and I don't think he was found. Then you had that one play down there late where Deontay Johnson was open for a touchdown, but Calvin Austin did end up putting it in for the Steelers after a big play from DJ to get that first down and keep the chains moving. They didn't think we were going to get in a shootout with Josh. No, they didn't think that. They thought the conditions were going to be different. And the game couldn't have been played yesterday. It really couldn't have. It would have been ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. Thank you, Kevin, for hitting the saying hit the like button. I appreciate that. Yeah, smash the like button, guys. Share the video and comment. And we're going to continue to do content, guys. Don't just think because the season's over we're not going to do content. We're going to follow the playoffs. We're going to keep doing this damn thing and just keep on moving, man. They didn't think we were going to get in a shootout. Horrible tackling in the secondary. Yeah, I agree, no doubt. Perry Ellis, Mason can go. Yeah, I mean, is he the man? Is he the answer? I don't know. I don't think we've seen even enough of him, to be honest, to like make that hard determination. And if he is going to demand a high wage, a big salary, are you comfortable doing that? Are you comfortable committing that type of dollar figure to a guy that I don't know is quite proven yet? I mean, it is what it is. You just have to see what you can get him back for. Is he willing to come back? What's the coaching situation going to be like? There is going to be tons of questions about this team moving forward. And the Steelers don't typically rebuild, and I don't think they need to do that now. I think they are a couple pieces away from being a quality club, but we'll have to just see how it goes in the offseason here. But that offensive line for sure needs some revamping. I thought that they had made some moves to shore things up, but it still just wasn't right this season. We'll see how that goes. Dan Moore got to go. Mason Cole got to go. We'll see Broderick maybe move back over to left tackle. He grew a lot this season. He had some plays that he struggled. But I thought overall, Broderick's performance this year, he has grown as a tackle. He has grown as a professional lineman. And I would say I'd be pleased with that first-round selection if I'm a Steeler fan, for sure. The turnovers cost them the game. Absolutely, Perry, no doubt. Robert Road, Kenny isn't making that much money being on a rookie deal. No, exactly, but you could allocate funds somewhere else, and are you comfortable paying that to Mason Rudolph? What if he demands a $10 million a year salary? What if that's what he's going to get? I don't know. I mean, are those 3 to 4 games here that he's played, is that going to excite other teams enough to start a bidding war for him? I mean, how much interest is going to be out there for Mason Rudolph? That's the real question that we're going to have to ask and wait and see, really. Cheeky Monkey Jason, do you think that Mason played well enough over the past 4 games that someone will be interested in him in their backup next year? I think for sure somebody would want him as their backup. I mean, I don't see why not. I think that would be a for sure guaranteed level of interest. Now, as a starter, as the franchise guy, as the guy that's going to guide your football team for years to come, I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'm sold on that. And I don't know. I didn't think he played bad. I really didn't think that he was horrible. And like one of the commenters said, he was on his heels the whole night. The offensive line played absolutely horrible. And it just was not their night, for sure. The Buffalo defensive front dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers in the trenches. And this game was won there. And then when you can't couple that with not being able to tackle, you're screwed, man. It's hard to overcome those things, and turnovers matter. Big in the NFL. Perry Ellis Pickens fumble. Mason threw INT. Freiermuth fumble. Yeah, we're lucky to get that Freiermuth fumble back. I still don't understand that play. I thought that was for sure a turnover from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Defense was trash, Perry. No doubt, buddy, for sure. Sean, our boy Sean says, one thing I am thankful for during this season is that I got to know some cool people on this channel thanks to you guys. No doubt, man. We are always appreciative of everybody here. It has been a magical season here on the channel, at least, getting to know everybody here, talking to everybody that comes in here on a steady, continual basis. And we so much appreciate you guys. I mean, you have no idea how much we appreciate you. And we're going to continue doing it. So we're going to continue our conversations, and hopefully they get pretty heated here throughout the offseason, and the Steelers make some big moves, no doubt about it. But thank you, Sean. We appreciated having Sean on every Wednesday for our live show and our post-game show. He's working tonight, so he wasn't able to join us for the post-game. Beer Malls, one of those games, though, that I thought we could make it happen till like 6 minutes left in the fourth. They did hang around, guys. They did have an excellent chance. The defense didn't get that stop. They needed one stop in this football game to tie it up. And I was a firm believer if they made that stop that they had an excellent chance, because I felt like the momentum in that second half was really starting to inch toward the Steelers a little bit. You could start to see some shock a little bit in the Buffalo Bills, but Josh Allen buckled the shit down and was able to keep that team under control, and they really did some special things, in my opinion, tonight. And their players wanted it more. They fought hard. They wouldn't go down after first contact. They just made the plays, man, and they wanted that shit. They weren't willing to quit, and it showed tonight for sure. Michael O'Malley III, I just hope the Rooney's already told Tomlin win or you're fired. That could be, guys. We don't know that. We'll see what happens. Maybe some of these so-called insiders will leak some of this quality information that they leak sometimes. We'll see. Robert Rowe, Tomlin to Washington for a first-round pick would be awesome, but who knows what, if any, changes are coming. I don't even know. Does a team offer a first-round pick for it? I don't know. I mean, it could be. That would be cool, Robert, in my opinion. I'd take a first-round pick for Mike Tomlin and reinvigorate this building for sure. David Schaefer, Mason was not the problem. Non-catching wide receivers and stupid mistakes. I don't think Mason was the problem. No, I don't. I don't either. He did make one big mistake. You can't make that mistake down there. But did it cost him this football game totally? Absolutely not. I thought he was keeping them in it. I thought he was making some timely throws when he had to. It just didn't work in the Steelers' favor tonight. There was just definitely some big challenges that they were unable to overcome. Just crazy. And I think a lot of that has to do with their game plan being so ultra-conservative tonight to start it out. They weren't able to stretch that Bills defense, and they were able to load up and really get after Mason Rudolph. They did not respect any type of deep ball. The Steelers didn't throw one if you really look at it. I don't recall them really throwing deep passes. I don't really recall them trying to stretch the defense out in any way to keep them honest, and that is the result. You saw that tonight. When you can't keep a defense honest, that's what happens. Let's see. Did you see Tomlin walked out on his press conference when someone asked him about having a year left on his contract? No, I did not watch it, Challenger. I'll have to go back and watch it. I like to get down here and fire this thing up and talk to you guys and get your initial reactions after the game. So I don't watch those usually until later tonight when I'm just chilling. I'll watch them and see. I didn't really care what he had to say. I was so pissed after the game, bro. I was like, oh, shit, I hate this. But anyway, Krusty Critter, the cheap shot Fitzpatrick. The cheap shot can't tackle, only does at knees. Yeah, he didn't tackle well tonight. That's for sure. And Patrick Peterson didn't tackle really well. Minka did have one good tackle. He stuck somebody. I can't remember what point of the game that was exactly, but he did have one good stick there. But yeah, none of them tackled really well tonight. And I didn't like that pass interference penalty. Well, they called it defensive holding. I thought it was more on the lines if you were going to call it, it had to be pass interference by the looks of it on Miles Jack. They called that a first down and 5-yard penalty, and that drive continued to go, and that ended up being that last score, I think, for the Buffalo Bills. Or maybe that was the missed field goal. I can't remember, but I didn't like that. The ball was way out of bounds, and I thought it was more pass interference than defensive holding, but it is what it is. You don't get calls half the time anyway. It is what it is. It's the NFL. The refereeing is not very good. We'll keep it at that, and we'll go further into that maybe in the offseason. No Challenger must-see TV, though. I can't wait to check that out. Yeah, I'm going to check it out too, man, for sure. I am interested now that you said that. I think something is going down with Tomlin. It might be, bro. Beermal says that Challenger, 2 dumb penalties by Jack, for sure. And that was across the board. Like I said earlier, when Darnell Washington has 2 false start penalties in one drive, you're professional, bro. You can't do that. 1, we'll forgive you. 2 in one drive in pivotal moments of the football game, it just can't happen. It cannot happen. And that is a unfundamental team. I mean, geez, that's crazy. David Schaefer, if I'm Mason, I'd walk in the offseason. Maybe, man, he might, and he's probably looking for some money. He's probably looking to get paid a little bit. He's made some money, but not crazy money in the NFL, so maybe he's looking to make and cash in a little bit. JD, 14 points off turnovers was the difference. Exactly, JD. Look at this score, 31-17. There's your 14 points. This game is much different without those turnovers and quick strikes by Josh Allen to Dalton Kincaid and whoever else he threw the ball to. I think it might have been Knox, but excuse me. Yeah, so the turnovers kill him. Challenger, poor tackling, no doubt, bro. Good young team, though, we got for sure. I think it is a good young team, guys, and I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I do think that there are some positive notes. I think George Pickens can be a real superstar. I think they are really a quarterback and maybe a coaching staff away from being a good ball club. And where do you turn if you're the Roonies? Do you try to cut ties with Tomlin? I mean, that keeps being the thing that we come back to over and over again right now. Almost a decade, bro. It's starting to sting. No doubt. It is. And Beermal says that whenever you're losing continually and when you do make it in the first round of the playoffs and you're non-competitive in those football games, it makes you wonder really what you're even thinking as a coaching staff. It's kind of crazy. Glenn Mango, let's go Steeler Nation. No doubt, bro. We're going to keep it somewhat positive as we move through the offseason. We try, that's all, no doubt, for sure. Cheeky Monkey message. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get through. Lucky V, enough with the water boy. Bring back KP. Hey, man, no doubt. You never know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's the answer either, man. JD, 5 wide worked when they used it. It did. And it started to spread that Bills defense out a little bit. The pressure was a little bit less, but you saw them going away from it, man. Every time. Let me get a drink, guy. No Sean tonight hurts me because I got to talk the whole time. All right, let's go. Biz, won my bet, called this all the way. Hey, good job, Biz. I'm glad you won some cash, bro. For sure, no doubt. Good job, man. I didn't win mine. I did have my other parlay built, but I missed it on the Buffalo Bills. I didn't make that one either, so I missed both of mine that I had going on. Cheeky Monkey all year. Josh Allen is throwing interceptions, and he not give us one gift today. No doubt, dude. I thought that there was a couple opportunities. That one and batted up in the middle of the field. I'm not sure what people were doing. They were like looking at it. You got to go for the football, man. It's the playoffs. We need a real OC. Absolutely, Perry. I agree. You got to get some fire and bring this offense up to the times. We are behind the 8 ball in how this offense is being executed. Not in plays, not in things of that nature. The execution part, it's just not there. It is not there. And the play calling is not there either. In big moments, you have to be better for sure. Blake says, I don't know how to feel. Tomlin brings us back all the time. I think we need a QB. Really don't want Tomlin to leave. That's the thing, too. He keeps you competitive, but is just mediocre good enough anymore? I mean, is that the stale message that we're all trying to say? That's the thing. I'm not sure either, man. Eric Bieniemy is available. I'd love to see Eric Bieniemy. He's an offensive mind. Uh, Seems to be a good leader of men. Seems to be well liked everywhere he goes organizationally. He seems to be a quality guy. I wouldn't mind seeing that as a hire. I really wouldn't. Eric Bieniemy would not piss me off if he was hired as the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would not mind that. I saw Challenger says I saw no sense of urgency by the Steelers in the third and fourth quarter. I didn't either. And I was okay with it for some of it because you don't want to get ahead of yourself. You don't want to go too quick to give Josh Allen even more opportunities with the way the defense was tackling so poorly. So you want to kind of learn to pace yourself somewhat, but you still got to be aggressive. And that's where I think we keep reverting back to the offense tonight. They were not aggressive, and that is bad. I mean, horrible. You're down 21-7 at the half. You got a chance. If you tell me it's going to be, 24-17 in the fourth quarter, I like our chances. I really do. And it got out of hand. It got out of slipped through their hands. Sean says, I would like to see Byron Leftwich come in to run the offense. Maybe that's an option. I don't know. He ran that in Tampa, but he had Tom Brady too. So who knows? I don't know, Sean. I don't know much about Byron Leftwich other than what he did here as a Pittsburgh Steeler as the backup quarterback. I thought he was tough as nails. Came in, played well when he had to. I like Byron then, but I'm not sure about his coaching style. I don't really know. I haven't done a lot of research into Byron. Blake says we need an OC and a DC. Yeah, I didn't think Terrell Austin had a good night either, guys. You're right. And you don't hear many bad things being said about Terrell Austin all the time. You don't hear about his job being or should be in jeopardy by people. They're not calling for his head all the time. But tonight, wow, the lack of tackling, the lack of fundamental football on defense, and the scheme was bad. We're lay people. We're not professional coaches. But man, dude, some of these schemes that you're coming out here with are so basic, so just generic. And you're supposed to be the Steelers, a team with pride on defense, a head coach that's defensive minded, that leans on his defense constantly. You've got to come out with something better than what you did tonight. No doubt about it. All right, guys, this is Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason. If you haven't subscribed, hit the like button, all that fun stuff. We'll go for another 5 minutes or so. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in tonight after a disappointing 31-17 loss by the Buffalo Bills. We'll get back to some more comments here, and we'll start winding things down. Blake, but it is always Tomlin's fault. No, I don't think it is Tomlin's fault as a whole. I think that he is in charge of it all, so ultimately it falls on his shoulder, yes. But I don't think it's constantly his fault. I think his poor hires have been a problem. Matt Canada wasn't a good hire, I don't think. I don't think Terrell Austin has been a horrible hire, but I don't think he is exactly what you're looking for, maybe. I think there could be some better options out there. We're mediocre, and that's the problem, guys. We're just mid-level and mediocre, and I don't know if that's good enough anymore. And I don't know if it's just Tomlin's shitty coach. I don't think that that's the case. But I think sometimes in a relationship, even any relationship in life, there comes a time where things become stale and you have to figure out how to spice it up, or you have to figure out how to move on and go your separate ways. And that's anything in life, man. In all relationships sometimes. It's hard to have lifelong relationships with anyone, anything, in any capacity, in my opinion. It's very difficult, and the people that are able to do it should be applauded. 20 years almost, Mike Tomlin being the head man in Pittsburgh is a remarkable feat. Super Bowl champion, lost the Super Bowl, has been to the playoffs, but his playoff lack of success does haunt him, and it is a problem, and it can't be overlooked. You just can't sweep that under the rug, guys. Challenger, Steelers once again get off to a slow start. Been that way all season. Yeah, exactly, except for a couple games, man. No doubt, Challenger. We are too basic on offense and defense. Yeah, no doubt. Defense got beat up, guys. When you're out on the field like they were in the front 10 games of this season, 12 games of this season, maybe even more than that, it is hard to stay healthy. They were on the field a shit ton. I mean, constantly. And, hey, injuries happen. They could happen whether you're on the field a lot or not. But damn, they were on the field a lot. And those 3-and-outs really started the trend and really snowballed. And it's hard to rebound from that late in the season. But they did, and they found a way to fight. But another disappointing first round playoff exit in a team that I had really high hopes for this week. I really thought that they had turned the corner with what they were doing, and it seemed like they reverted back to the front half of the season Steelers tonight. They weren't aggressive. They didn't stay with the theme. They outsmarted themselves by going back to what they were doing before. They thought that they were going to outsmart the Bills. They thought the Bills would be worrying a lot about the past, blah, 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 and I think they just, outsmarted themselves, in my opinion. All right, get a good OC. Vincent Webb says, get a good OC. Straighten that O-line out, get a QB situation right, and get some more solid players at inside linebacker and DB. Shoot, Mason can stay and Kenny can sit too, learn, but they won't do that. Yeah, but I agree with a lot of that, Vincent, for sure, man. No doubt about it. But that's a laundry list there. That's a lot of stuff that you have to fix in one offseason. And are you able to do that organizationally? Do you have the resources to be able to repair that many holes? I mean, is this a total rebuild or does it need to be? Or, there's a lot of questions and we have to figure those out. We have to figure those out. And it is going to be a long off season of talking about this stuff for sure. And we will really dive into it here in the next coming weeks. We will really get into what the Steelers need to do. We will do a lot of roster breakdown, a lot of cap stuff, a lot of things that you need to do to build a football team. We will really dive into that. And I haven't really dove into it this season because I've been focused on the games. But we will really get into the nuts and bolts and the numbers of this football team and see where they need to turn. Blake says, I just feel okay. Offense and defense is so bland when it comes from play calling. I agree. It is okay. It's just average. And that's the story of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the better part of a decade. They have been absolutely average and just simply pedestrian, man. And that I don't know if that's good enough anymore, man. I really, really don't. Thanks for all the hard work and great analysis this season. Thanks, Beer Malls. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much, dude. Kevin Lynch, being mediocre has kept us from getting good draft picks. Yeah, it has. You're picking in the back half of the draft all the time because you're just good enough. When you have to pick your number one quarterback in the area 20, things of that nature, I mean, you're just good enough. So you're picking from 20 to the back half, and it's just the way it is. Maybe figure out how to load up on some draft capital this year if you're Omar Khan. Maybe try to figure out some ways to make some things happen in this draft by infusing a ton of young talent, because I felt like the young talent that came in this year made a difference. I felt like they actually really helped this football team. And if you can do that again, if you're Omar Khan, I think that could just spell good things for this Steelers organization. Challenger Tomlin, now 8-10 all time in the postseason. Yes, no doubt. We did a show on that. I think it was Sean and I. We talked about it in great detail. The Tomlin playoff record, the Tomlin postseason failures. And it starts to become staggering for sure. An all-time great coach doesn't have an 8-10 record inside of the playoffs. They just don't. And I mean, it is what it is. The numbers are the numbers. In this league, you are measured by the amount of rings on your fingers, the amount of Lombardis in your trophy case. That's what you're measured by. All the other shit really don't matter. I mean, it don't. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens with Mike Tomlin, old Mikey T. Sean says, have a good one, everyone. Thanks again, Jason. I will see you guys soon. All right, Sean, be safe at work, buddy. We'll see you, bud. Doug, AQ, need a good OC and a gunslinger in there. Pickens is too good of a talent. I like Kenny, but he doesn't have the arm strength. You're right, Doug. I don't think Kenny Pickett has the arm strength. I thought that he worked on it. I thought that he was a little bit better this season at the start. At least I was hoping. And just what, his training in the offseason, he came in a little bit more bulked up. I was hoping that improved his arm strength a little bit. But it didn't seem to get quite where he needed to be. And you have to have a big arm in this league. You have to be able to fit things in tight windows. You have to be able to make special plays as a passer to be an elite quarterback. And if you can't do that, you have an issue. You can't just be average. And if you're Mike Tomlin, Maybe you got to go out and find a different guy. Maybe the answer isn't on this roster. We for sure know it's not Mitchell Trubisky. He's absolutely shitty. He is terrible. And I would dump him tomorrow if I was the Steelers. Kenny Pickett, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think his arm strength is there. And does Mason Rudolph even come back? And have we even seen enough of him to warrant paying him? And is he enough to get us through? I don't know. I thought he played well. I can't dog him. I don't think he had a bad 4-game stint. I really, really don't. His overall performance was, I would say, pretty decent. Do I call it elite? No, I don't. But I call it good. But is that good enough? That's where we keep going back to, guys. Good enough, mediocre. That's where we keep ending up with this team at every position, every turn, man. There's very few things that you say are elite. TJ Watt, elite. Guys like that. But there's very few things that you say are elite on this football team. And goddamn, the punting, guys. I can't stand it. I keep thinking that in my head. Presley Harvin is the biggest turd I've ever seen at the punter position. What happened? Dude. My Lord, it irks me so bad, and I can't stand it. All right, I got to get off that soapbox. Sean Leonard, keep Mason, cut Pickens and cut Pickens and Deontay. You want to cut both of them? I don't know, man. I wouldn't cut them. Is that what you're trying to say? Cut Pickens and Deontay? I don't know, Sean. I wouldn't do that. Jamie, without Josh Allen, the Buffalo squad is middle of the pack. But that is every team in the NFL, if you really think about it, Jamie. There's very few teams that can be good with a middle-of-the-road quarterback. Very, very few. That's the thing. Elite quarterback play wins in this league, and the 4 best quarterbacks in the AFC this season, in my opinion, as a whole, are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and C.J. Stroud, who I may think I'm going to start picking to win it all. That's just my theory. C.J. Stroud is a blessed kid, man. He is talent. Well, man, he has immense talent and can really do some damage if given that right opportunity, given that right team. And I think he has something really building down there in Texas. And they are going to be a force to reckon with if C.J. Stroud continues on this trajectory that he is currently on. And you will see them inside the playoffs for many years. Sean Leonard, Tomlin got to go. Get the toughness in the Steelers back. Brian Flores and Haley co-coaches. That will never happen, Sean. You'll never see co-coaches, that's for sure. At least I don't think so. Not as a hire. They wouldn't do that. Maybe in the middle of the season, if something happened and people were fired, you might see something like that. But that wouldn't happen, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. Jamie, KP8 is a QB2 with potential for a Troy Aikman game manager type career. But isn't that what all great quarterbacks are, Jamie? You guys, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't all great quarterbacks game managers? But they have special arm talent. They can get balls in tight situations, make plays when they have to make them. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. I want a game manager guy. I want a guy, though, with a big arm that can make things happen in big moments. And that's what you got to have. I think Mason has the calmness. I think he has the poise to be like that. I think he has a good arm. Is he mobile? I don't think so. He's not super mobile. He can get out of there if he needs to. But is he the whole package? I don't know. I don't know that answer, guys. We'll have to keep breaking that down. Oscar, I just watched the highlights when Josh ran all of our guys moving out of the way for him. I can't believe my eyes. Yeah, that was a crazy run, guys. I was shocked when that happened, especially the way they tried to not tackle him. You have to try to not tackle him for him to go that far, for sure. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of action and a lot of talk about this offseason. No doubt. A lot of talk, guys. It's going to be crazy offseason for the Steelers. All right, guys, let's start wrapping it up. Jamie, sign punter man next season. What happened to that guy that used to punt for the Bills, dude? I'd like to get him in the building. He was a beast, man. Give him the chance. We'll have to look into that, too. Harvin, 30-yard punt. Yeah, and big moments, too, bro. For sure, Beer Malls. I think Ravens are going to kick the shit out of everyone. I don't know, Doug. Lamar Jackson don't win big games either, man. I've never known him to win one big game ever in his whole career, so we'll have to see. Maybe this is the year that he finally puts it together. I don't think Lamar Jackson's like a shitty dude or anything. Maybe he'll have some success. We'll see. I think he's a quality player. We'll see how it goes, though. Kevin Lynch, it's all about the QB play now, especially with the salary they demand. Exactly. You're dumping $50 million into a quarterback position. Where else can you allocate money? I mean, shit, you're strained. You have two big names on defense, and you're paying them 18 to 20 some $1 million a year each. There's $90 million of your salary cap ate up for a 53-man roster. Come on. I mean, hey, it is what it is. All right, guys, Beer Mall. This dude just texted me and said, get rid of TJ. He's never around when it counts. Damn, I don't know. Is that true? I just don't think they make the playoffs that much. I don't know. In Kansas City, he was around for that playoff beatdown, and he scored a touchdown in that game. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't think it's on TJ's shoulders. I really don't. He's only been injured, I think, twice, really. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. If you commented, I thank you so very much. I appreciate you for stopping by. Thanks for liking. Thanks for all that stuff. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And we'll get back to you this week, and we'll hit it up really hard here and start to break down this Steelers offseason. Also, we'll follow along the rest of the NFL playoffs, and we'll continue to bring content pretty much damn near every day, just like we do now. So keep a lookout and keep coming back to the channel, and I appreciate you guys. So until next time, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Sorry that the season ended the way it did, but maybe next year. All right, guys. Peace.